Hey there, this is James with our Unity Community Online, Unity of Greenville. Thanks for being with me today. I appreciate it. This is our metaphysics class, and so I want to share with you some metaphysical truth. And I like to talk about metaphysics because I believe that metaphysics is an understanding that helps us to kind of see the big picture. It helps us to understand what really is going on spiritually and in the world, when you can see it from a higher metaphorical, metaphysical perspective, you can see what's really happening, and then you're not so anxious and fearful because of what's going on in the outward world. So, we're going to talk about transformation. Last Sunday was Easter Sunday, and we had a marvelous time talking about the resurrection, principles of the resurrection. How can you make a resurrection? And it was a lot of fun to do that. And there's so much that we could have talked about. We could get into everything, but I think what we spoke on over the last few weeks, if you kind of put them all together, you kind of can see a bigger picture and understand that we're living in transformative times. We're living at a time when everything is changing and changing on the hurry up. Things are changing quick, fast. And so it's important to pay attention. It's important to be aware. It's important to give yourself to your spiritual life and allow it to unfold, because everything else is just, is not as fun as it used to be. So it's your spirituality that is wanting to bloom, that's wanting to come forth, and it's wanting to transform your life. So there is no greater or better symbol of transformation and resurrection than the caterpillar and the butterfly. And we've all heard the story, I'm sure, about caterpillars and how they transform into the from being an earthly physical creature to being a heavenly, almost spiritual creature, a butterfly. Caterpillars are short, stubby. They don't have any wings. Kind of remind you of human beings. Human beings are from a higher dimension. We're from that spiritual dimension, but we forget who we are. We don't know who we are because we don't have those wings, and those wings have to do with knowing who we are. And so, just like caterpillars are birthed from eggs, most humans are an embryo. And, eggs symbolize that you think about the cosmic egg, that egg of existence that we all are a part of, and that just like the baby chick is pecking on the inside of the egg in order to break through to get outside of the egg. And that's what spirituality is all about. It's getting out of that limited space that we've been birthed in, that we've been living in. Human beings live in their little boxes sometimes, and it is very limiting, and it keeps us from expansion. So there are lots of eggs around. There's lots of boxes that people put themselves into, but they're not interested, many of them, in experiencing something outside the box. But on the other hand, there's a lot of folks who are ready to go beyond the box and see what's out there, and have a bigger, larger perspective view of divinity and of spirituality and our unlimited potential that we all have. And so after the caterpillar is born, they come into a feeding stage, which is very important. The job of the caterpillar is to eat and eat and eat and just keep on eating. As the caterpillar grows, it splits its skin, it sheds it about 4 or 5 times because it keeps growing. The food eaten at this time is stored and will be used later as they become an adult. So, caterpillars can grow 100 times their size during this stage. Isn't that amazing? So, you look at that on a spiritual level, you know, how important it is for us to eat and be fed spiritually. If you want to transform, you have to eat good food and you have to know what to eat. Okay. And so I want to share with you some different types of food that will feed your soul or feed your spirit, spiritual food. Now we know that there's physical food, and we all need and enjoy physical food. There's mental food, that we feed upon. And then there's spiritual food. And one of the greatest of all spiritual food is love. Did you know that love is a food and that you need love in order to grow, in order to expand, in order to become who you truly are? So it's important to engage in life in this love relationship with yourself and with other people, because as you feed upon this love, then this love helps you to evolve. It helps you, it nurtures, it protects, it helps you to see what's really true. If you if there's someone who hasn't been loved and they haven't been able to feed upon enough love, then they have very low self-esteem and they don't believe that they're worthy. They don't believe that they deserve more than where they are in this moment. And that is something that happens when you can't experience love. So, love is a food. And so we create it inside of ourselves and we give it away. It is in our actions, it's in our words, it's in our thoughts, it's in our deeds. It is the energy of who we truly are. We are the essence of love. Now, another food is silence. Did you know silence was a food? And you need to partake of silence every day. You need some quiet time. You need some alone time where your mind is still and quiet and you feed upon that inner communion. You feed upon the joy that is within you, the peace that is within you. You feed upon the quiet because the quiet is very healing. It's very uplifting and it's very nourishing. And so we need the silence. In the Bible, it says to be still and know, be still and know that I am, and that I am God, or that I am spirit, that I am, you know, uh, that's what I truly am. Jesus said that true worship is done in spirit and in truth. And you do that through silence or inner communion. So you need love and you need silence. You need that inner communion. If you feed upon those inner qualities, those inner intangibles of peacefulness and joyfulness, and allow yourself to experience them, then you'll be refreshed, you'll be renewed, you'll be uplifted, and you'll gain some spiritual weight when you do that. It's very powerful. Another thing is reading. Reading, and when you read, you feed. Depending upon what you're reading on, when you read something, does it feed your spirit? Does it uplift and does it edify? Does it build you up? That is what you want to know because many people read, they just don't read things that are helpful to them. And that's why it's important to read materials that feed you, you know. Jesus said that my words are spirit and they are life. And once you feed upon those kinds of words and you read those kinds of sayings, I know that there are books that I have read where I just didn't get anything out of it. And then there are books that I read that I go away from and I just feel full. I just feel satiated. I feel, um, you know, uh, good afterwards. And so those are the kind of books that you want to read. You can be fed through movies. You can be fed through listening to spiritual teaching, through teaching that is based in a positive way, that is encouraging, and that touches your spirit. And so, love, silence, intercommunion, reading, listening to spiritual teachers can be very healing. It's almost like when you listen to a good spiritual teacher, it's almost like a meditation because it takes you within, it takes you somewhere. It causes you to think outside the box. Many teachers try to keep people in the box, and that's what you don't want. You want to feed upon something that expands you, that helps you to move out from the place of limitation. But it's all these ideas are based upon receiving good energy or the life force. You can be around people who have good energy and you will be fed. You will be nourished because when you're with them, you experience that silence. You experience that love. You experience that communion and that back and forth of upliftment. And then there's some people that you can be around where you feel like maybe they're a vampire, because it seems like that they just take your energy from you. And so it's important not to be around those kinds of people too much, or they can sap you of your energy, of your strength, of your life force. So you want to feed your energy. You want to build energy. You want to grow energy. You want to grow awareness, consciousness. This is what we're talking about. So then there is this transition stage for the caterpillar. When the caterpillar um, gets to a certain point, you might say that as a caterpillar, they're full grown. They can't get any bigger. They've tasted of and they've fed upon so much that they've reached a saturation point. And then they begin to create and build what is called a chrysalis. Maybe depending on the type of species of butter or of caterpillar that it is, they will sometimes they'll build a cocoon under a tree branch or maybe in the ground. There's moths, there's butterflies, there's all these different ones, but they spin a cocoon and they go within the cocoon and they get very, very still because they are protected inside the cocoon. They're protected by this beautiful cocoon of silk and they're safe inside. And so there comes a point to where the only thing left for you to do is go within. You've done everything else. It's just time to go within because it's time for transformation. It's time for transformation. Um, this last stage of the caterpillar, for some, will last a few weeks, some will go a few months, some might even go a couple of years. And so when you see people in their lives and they're experiencing these kinds of things, just understand that everybody has their own process. It takes a different amount of time for different people. I think that's important to keep in mind. Not everybody grows at the same rate. Not everybody arrives all at the same time. It takes different spirits or souls, a different times. So you might look at the cocoon and it might look like nothing is going on. But big changes are actually happening on the inside. See, that's where change happens. In the butterfly, there's special cells that were present at the baby larva stage, but are now beginning to grow rapidly. And those cells turn into legs and wings and eyes and other parts of this heavenly creature, spiritual creature that they're becoming. So those cells also produce food as well. And then at a moment, there comes a moment when the light is just right and it hits the chrysalis and breaks it open. And you see that on the inside, something is wanting to break free. And so that butterfly has to push its way out of the chrysalis. And I think that's important because sometimes we go within and we get stuck there. We stay there. We don't come back out. I had a good friend who was a fabulous teacher, and he taught so much about love and growth and spirituality. But he went to live in the mountains with these other monks, and he lived there for 7 years until one day he came down the mountain and he was getting some water, and there were people around that were getting water, and he noticed that many of the people were sad, they were afraid, they were upset, they were having problems. And he thought to himself, wow, I wonder what's being done about that. And then that's when something came over him and said, it's time for you to come down from the mountain and to express yourself. It's time that you use the tools that you have been given for yourself, that you use them for others, that you begin to teach others, that you begin to share with others, that you share your energy, your light, your life force with others. And he did that, you know. And I think a lot of people are kind of stuck inside. They go inside and they just kind of just hang out there and they don't really come back out and reveal the beauty that is within, because you see, people need models, they need examples, they need to see others excuse me, who have overcome, who have gone beyond their limitations, and who have transformed into the butterfly stage. And that is the stage that we want to arrive at, because the butterfly is the spiritual. It is that beautiful, colorful, heavenly creature. They're so beautiful. They're so colorful. And they can use their large wings to fly. And they flitter about and they pollinate the, or they feed upon, the flowers, and they share and exchange energy and so forth. And it's a beautiful thing. But the thing about a butterfly is they don't live very long. They sometimes only live for a few days. Some will live for a couple of weeks, but they don't live a long time. And many of them don't even eat. They don't even have a need to eat anymore because they have been filled up. And so they'll feed on a little nectar, but many of them don't need to eat because they're fully grown. And flying, I tell you, sure does come in handy because you can easily fly from place to place. And what those adult butterflies do is they will um, look around for eggs to pollinate, and you know, so that they can continue on, what their species. And that's what we do as spiritual beings. We continue to grow and grow and grow until we get to that point at where we can reach out beyond ourselves, and we can reproduce, you know, we can reproduce ourselves and raise up others who can begin to grow and go through that caterpillar butterfly, you know, transformation. Because see, that's why we're here, is to transform into this higher state of being, where we're no longer hypnotized and mesmerized by this physical world. We're living in the world of spirit, in a beautiful world of peace, joy, and love. And we have something to give to others, and we can share it. We know that Jesus only, his ministry was only for 3 years, and it was a short time. Buddha had a short ministry. Many of the spiritual teachers had short ministries. They may have lived for a long time, but the real crux of their ministry took place when they actually achieved some type of maturity, and they were able to reproduce themselves and others. And that's what we're here to do. Just like the butterfly, we transform. Now, the Bible tells us that we have a physical body and we have a spiritual body. We have the natural body and we have the beyond natural body. And so it is that spiritual body that we want to build, that we want to feed, that we want to grow that spiritual part of ourselves, so that we can begin to, minister in a more mature way. Wouldn't it be great if all of our ministers spoke from a place of maturity and understanding and wisdom and love and acceptance and compassion? Wouldn't that be fantastic? Well, that's what metaphysics teaches us. It's the whole idea of the butterfly. Is the butterfly, represents that spiritual body, that spiritual person who embodies the the divine presence, who embodies the higher mind, the higher self, the higher wisdom. That's what we're reaching for. That's what we're looking for. And I believe that many of you are beginning to experience some of these things. And it's important to know what to eat. It's important to know what stage you're in, where you're at, so that you can begin to, or continue to evolve and to grow and become that heavenly creature that you are meant to be. All right. Well, I trust that something that was said was helpful to you on your journey, on your spiritual path. I enjoy sharing these truths. If you enjoy them, enjoy hearing it, then I invite you to subscribe to our channel on YouTube, Facebook, or you can look at our website. You can also watch there and feed upon what we share with you and with others. If you want to make a donation, go to unitychurchofgreenville.org. We appreciate so much your giving, and we appreciate your continued support. All right. Well, I'm getting ready to go to a meditation. We're having meditation on this Wednesday night in person. And so if you're in the area, you'd like to come be with us, come on out. It's Wednesday, 6:30. If you're listening at this to this at another time, then don't worry about it. But thanks for listening today. I appreciate it. Enjoy your life. Enjoy what's happening, because what's going on is more transformative than you can ever even imagine. So allow the transformation to happen. Allow yourself to grow, and you'll be glad you did. All right, we'll see you next time.